Dan Quayle and Al Gore traded barbs.
Can you really trust Bill Clinton? When the recession came, they were like a deer caught in the headlights, paralyzed into inaction.
Perot's running mate, James Stockdale, didn't contribute much.
I'm out of ammunition on this.
The debates helped push up Perot's poll numbers, though he remained in third place. But the momentum fell flat when Perot claimed Republican dirty tricks had forced him to quit the race in July.
I got a report that there was a plan to smear my daughter Carolyn, who was about to get married, on August the 23rd.
The Republicans denied the charge and tagged Perot as paranoid. President Bush had failed to pick up any steam from the debates, but in the final days of the campaign, he showed some brief gains in the polls, and he showed some fire, hitting Clinton on the issues of taxes and trust.
We simply cannot take a risk on Governor Clinton. He is wrong for America on the issues, and I believe I am better for America on character.
I am losing my voice, but tomorrow, if you'll be my voice, I'll be your voice for 4 years.
Hoarse and tired, Clinton dashed across 8 states in the final hours of the campaign, a frenetic lead-up to victory. Clinton got 100 more electoral votes than he needed to win the presidency. Surveys of voters leaving the polls showed the #1 issue was indeed the economy.
Let's give Governor Clinton a big round of applause. He's won.
We will get behind this new president and wish him well.
Not only did Americans change presidents, they made big changes in Congress. 4 women were elected to the U.S. Senate, bringing the total number to a record high of 6. A dozen new faces were elected to the Senate and more than 100 to the House. Change and the economy. The issues of the 1992 campaign still resonate as Bill Clinton prepares to take the keys to the White House. An undercurrent to most of this year's news was the recession. The hard times affected everything from politics to race relations. And in the U.S., individuals, businesses, and governments struggled to make ends meet.
Times are hard. I need a job.
Thousands lined up when jobs were to be offered for only a few. Businesses, small and large, felt the bite.
All of a sudden, it was like the spigot. It was turned off, and business just dropped off.
And from town councils to the halls of Congress, those who govern were forced into painful decisions.
Doing the best they can with what we got.
Each month, analysts scanned the latest government figures for evidence that the long recession was coming to a definitive end. The picture brightened in spots, but through much of the year, economic analysts came to the same conclusion.
The economy is pretty much dead in the water.
Clearly shows the economy is still very weak, likely to stay weak in the third quarter.
The U.S. economy seems to just be going sideways.
Among the big-name casualties, Macy's. In January, Macy's joined a parade of companies that took on heavy debts in the 80s only to file for bankruptcy protection once the recession set in. Trans World Airlines had followed a similar pattern and filed for bankruptcy protection only days after Macy's. TWA was the 6th of the top 12 U.S. airlines to enter bankruptcy court. In February, General Motors announced it had lost almost $4.5 billion in 1991, the biggest loss ever by a U.S. company.
We're going to have to compete. And that means you got to be lean, you got to get the costs down.
The auto giant immediately sent out a list of some of the plants it would shut down by 1995 and announced the rest of the closures in December. In all, at least 21 plants will be idled and about 74,000 jobs will be eliminated.
Doesn't sound too good, does it?
What does that do for you?
Out the door. Yeah. No job.
Months later, GM's top man, Chairman Robert Stempel, was shown the door. Jobs seem to be on everyone's mind, especially in the summer. The unemployment rate surged in June as 10 million Americans looked for work. One besieged union turned a Labor Day parade into a funeral march for American jobs. The sluggish economy translated into lower tax revenues for state and local governments. And that meant citizens faced cuts in services or higher taxes as local and state governments tried to balance their books. Several states eliminated or slashed general assistance welfare. In Ohio, the destitute and desperate howled, but the governor said his back was against the wall.
Whether they believe it or not, George Voinovich really cares for his fellow man. That's why I'm in the business.
California's legislature deadlocked in its budget battle, and the state resorted to issuing IOUs instead of checks for the first time since the Great Depression.
There's a good possibility we're not going to get paid this month, and, I don't know if our landlords, etc., all our creditors will be as understanding as, the legislature, the governor expects us employees to be.
The federal government struggled with how to boost the weak economy.
Let me tell you right from the start and right from the heart. I know we're in hard times, but I know something else. This will not stand.
In his State of the Union message, President Bush proposed some modest steps to help the economy. Twice, he signed bills extending unemployment benefits. The Fed responded to June's 7.8% unemployment rate by dropping one of its key interest rates to its lowest level in 29 years. But clear signs of a strengthening economy did not surface until late fall. Too late for President Bush. The gross domestic product showed the economy grew 3.9% in the third quarter. After the election, consumer confidence and other economic measures began to turn up. And the holiday shopping season got off to a brisk start, perhaps heralding a gift for the incoming Clinton administration and for millions of Americans tiring of lean times. For Year in Review, I'm Leon Harris.
Nature reminded many U.S. coastal residents of its unpredictable and merciless fury this year in the form of hurricanes and tornadoes. Parts of South Florida and Hawaii remain in ruins, and it could take years to rebuild.
See these pictures on TV, and you really, we've worked so hard in this community to build what we got. 12 years of my life. Not gone, we just got to start over. Never gone, there's always tomorrow.
Back here, flew from this side of the road all the way across the street into two houses there. We have a truck back here that looks like a beer can now.
What do you think when you see all this?
I mean, what do you say? I mean, this is people's lives. They've been living here, 10, 15, some of them 25, 30 years, and everything they have is virtually gone.
Its name was Andrew, the most powerful hurricane of the season, and it began by casting its fury in the Bahamas before moving onto the U.S. mainland. Residents of South Florida and Louisiana had advance warning, and many evacuated to safer ground.
We're going to take as much as we can.
But no amount of warning could prepare anyone for what Andrew left behind. The Homestead, Florida area was the hardest hit. The Air Force base there was virtually destroyed. And to make matters worse, many victims complained that it took days for relief of any kind to reach them. In all, Andrew killed 55 people and left another 250,000 homeless. Many are still without permanent housing. In monetary terms, the hurricane did $20 billion in damage to homes and businesses.
The before and after is incredible. It was a paradise prior to, and now it's a fixer-upper.
Less than a month after Andrew, part of what many considered paradise was lost. Hurricane Iniki battered Hawaii with its harshest punch, hitting the small resort island of Kauai. Iniki caused an estimated $1 billion in damage. About half the island's 21,000 homes were destroyed. But this time, the federal government was ready, rushing in troops and supplies to the island. Some federal relief began arriving even before local authorities asked for it.